It is a well-known fact that the movie actresses are frequently admired above all else for their beauty and for the exquisite ways in which they play their parts. A little-known fact is that many actresses have occasionally spent extended periods of time in prison. Many famous, not so famous, and infamous actresses are currently incarcerated. And it is our duty to inform you of these women and the specific actions they took to get there, when they should have been slaying on the big screen and posting on Instagram and TikTok. Keep watching to learn about the 7 actresses who are rotting in jail today. And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more such exciting content in the future. Number 7. Allison Mack. American actress Allison Kristen Mack was born in 1982. She became well known for playing some significant roles in TV series. From 2001 to 2011, she portrayed Chloe Sullivan in the superhero TV series Smallville. Additionally, she played a recurring part in the comedy series Wilfred, which ran from 2012 to 2014 for 2 seasons. But, much to everyone's surprise, she pleaded guilty to charges of racketeering and racketeering conspiracy in 2021 and was given a 3-year prison term. So how did Mack end up in a cult that put her in jail? Well, it began in 2006 when Allison joined the NXIVM cult after going to a women's group event that was sponsored by the cult. The cult group presented itself as an association dedicated to guiding and motivating women to improve. The 3 closest associates of Rainier's, who were also his sexual partners throughout her time in the cult, were Allison Klein, Lauren Salzman, and the president of the Nexine's daughter. The NXIVM program, aimed at luring Hollywood actors, was given Mack's co-creator title. A charge of trafficking and cult recruitment led to Allison's arrest by the FBI in Brooklyn in 2018. The victims were assaulted and forced to work for unfair wages, the police report claims. Number 6. Amber Heard. We won't even try to introduce Amber Heard because she doesn't need it. To sum up, she was previously married to Johnny Depp, verbally abused the man, once severed the tip of his finger, peed on his bed and made disparaging remarks about him to the point where he was essentially banned from Hollywood and fired from franchises like Pirates of the Caribbean. Instead of solidifying her status as a survivor of domestic violence who overcame extraordinary odds to reach the top of the defamation trial in Amber's courtroom, Johnny eventually became frustrated and took her to a Virginian court this year where he wanted judgment of at least $10 million. Her actions and the inconsistencies in her testimony turned the public against her, and there are now vociferous calls for her films to be boycotted. The legal dispute centered on how Amber Heard accidentally imported her 2 dogs, Pistol and Bo, into Australia without declaring them. Amber Heard chose to enter a guilty plea to forging travel documents when she was accused of bringing the 2 Yorkshire Terriers into the country illegally. She was fined $10,000. When Johnny Depp filed a defamation suit against The Sun in 2020, his former estate manager, Kevin Murphy, testified that before the Australian trip, he had carefully explained Australian pet import laws to Amber and explained the consequences that could accrue from not following these laws, which included euthanizing the illegally imported animals. When Amber's dogs arrived in Australia without the required permits and without official understanding or sanction, she contacted him and asked him to lie and say she knew nothing about bringing dogs into the country. Number 5. Julie Chrisley. Have you ever heard of reality television? Heck, the majority of you could probably write entire books about it. Typically, talent isn't a prerequisite for reality TV stars. They only need to be interesting so they can fight with everyone, swear a lot, and generally just be annoying and memorable. One reality TV program has the quirky name Chrisley Knows Best. The real estate tycoon Todd Chrisley and his family were the focus of the show when it first debuted in 2014. Obviously, this wasn't your typical American family flaunting their wealth and ostentation for all Mount Olympus to see. But then, nothing is ever as it seems, and people are so fixated on making themselves appear bigger and wealthier than they actually are that they're willing to do anything to protect a reputation they've built on deceit and smoke and mirrors. This is to say, the husband and wife team behind the self-titled show, Todd and Julie Chrisley, were convicted earlier this year of bank fraud and tax evasion. It was discovered that they had been presenting odd documents to banks in order to persuade them to approve sizable loans. On November 21, 2022, both will be sentenced, and each could receive a maximum of 30 years in prison. Imagine receiving a 30-year sentence solely for the purpose of appearing wealthier than your neighbors and throwing lavish parties that everyone would want to be invited to. Number 4. Skylar DeLeon. The case of the next famous person in our list is quite complicated. Former Power Rangers actor Skylar DeLeon was given the death penalty for murdering Tom and Jackie on their yacht in 2004. To get Tom and Jackie's money so she could pay for Skylar's gender confirmation surgery, Jennifer Henderson, Skylar's then-wife, helped them rise to fame. Later, it was discovered that DeLeon had planned the act for financial gain. DeLeon was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder committed with the intent to profit. In 2009, a jury sentenced DeLeon to death. Jen received a 116-year prison term for fraud-related offenses involving an online store she co-managed from 2013 to 2017. About 120 customers claimed they never received the goods they had previously paid for during this time. Over $10,000 in cash is thought to have been lost during this ordeal. According to reports, when customers inquired as to why their orders had not arrived, they were informed that the trucks in charge of delivering the requested items had crashed, and that it would take some time to resolve the situation before the orders could be reset. Number 3. Zara Pythian. Zara's story is not that of a poisoner, but she did some very bad things and most likely put an end to her Hollywood career. 8 years is how long Zara Pythian must remain in this strange and generally hostile environment that's a female prison. She doesn't evaluate herself, and neither do we, in light of the charges against and conviction of the defendant. In May of this year, Zara, who's best known for co-starring in Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch, was found guilty in the UK of child sex offenses. Both she and her husband had abused a minor. Her husband received 14 years in prison for both this abuse and the abuse of a different young girl. The abuse of both minors sadly occurred over several years, but what riles us the most is that Zara Pythian appears to have no remorse for what she did and helped to do to innocent children, making her 8-year sentence seems like a sick joke. She's also known for roles in the 2020 film Get Out Alive and the 2016 film Morgan. It's worth noting that this lady, who can rightfully blame her husband for her misfortunes, began studying Shakotan karate at the age of 7 and later switched to Taekwondo. She was the first British martial artist inducted into the International Karate and Kickboxing Hall of Fame in 2006. What advice would you give to such a lady? Number 2. Sunny. Tamara Lynn Sitch, a former professional wrestler who went by the ring name Sunny, is the epitome of an outlaw for having committed countless crimes throughout her life. After becoming well-known for both her wrestling and her portrayals of villains in the tales of other wrestlers, Tamara is frequently referred to as the original WWE Diva. She was detained in connection with a horrific DUI crash that killed a driver in May 2022. Tamara's car failed to stop in time for a traffic signal, which resulted in a collision in Ormond Beach, Florida. Fortunately, Lynn survived, and she was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment before being released later on after the police had taken a sample of her blood for additional investigation. Tamara, who's now 49 years old, was found to have 3.5 times the legal blood alcohol limit in her system at the time of the accident. DUI causing death on one occasion, Tamara is charged with 7 counts of DUI-related property damage in Florida. DUI manslaughter is a felony, and if found guilty, Tamara could spend up to 30 years in prison. Number 1. Shannon Richardson. An American actress, a mother of 6, and a convicted felon, Shannon Richardson has appeared in television and film, including The Walking Dead. In 2014, she was given an 18-year prison term for sending ricin-laced letters to 3 individuals, including Mark Perry, Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City, and President Barack Obama. According to police reports, Shannon admitted to sending the 3 letters containing the poisonous substances taken from castor beans. In May 2013, Shannon bought ricin and castor beans using her husband's credit card. Shannon falsely claimed that Nathan Richardson had sent several politicians poison envelopes. In 2028, Shannon's 18-year prison term will come to an end. And that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more such exciting content.